Hi there. Welcome to, I guess this is number 15 of the Temple of Grief. And I wasn't going to do a second one in February. And then I remembered the other Black Friday is in February. If you know, you know. People who know me know for a long time I wouldn't say I'm necessarily anti-Valentine's Day, except that here's my whole premise. Valentine's Day, aside from being, a holiday invented by Hallmark, Valentine's Day is a holiday that, by its very existence, sets us up for disappointment, sets us up for failed expectations. And I'm going to explain why. So, if you send me a dozen roses on Valentine's Day, that is normal, right? That's accepted. That's usual. And so my appreciation of those roses on Valentine's Day is going to be less than they would if you were to send me a dozen roses on a random Tuesday. When someone sends me a dozen roses on a random Tuesday, that to me is pointing out the extra special nature of that particular love, rather than someone who just sends flowers because it's expected of them to do so. And this sort of stems from, I was listening to, I don't remember, I think it was Joe Dispenza, talking about how when someone asks you, why are you the way you are, why are you this way, or why do you do these things? And if you respond and say, I am this way because X or Y or Z happened to me, he talks about how that's where we're living in the past. And so I'm going to go ahead and admit that this story I'm going to tell you resides in my past. And yet I'm going to choose to look at it as an opportunity for seeing it as a strategy for resilience. So this is a dumb story. This is like high school love, right? And this was someone I was already dating, and so we were already involved, and there was some, girl-esque guy dance, because everything in the 80s in high school was very gendered. And so it was like the girl's opportunity to ask the guy out for a dance. And so it was Valentine's Day, and I went through this whole big, elaborate thing. It was high school, so I sent him 7 little coded messages, and each one of those coded messages added up to, will you come out to the dance with me, or whatever it was. And his response at the end was, I'll think about it. And I was like, okay, I went through all of this to sort of express, this love that I was feeling in my tiny little teenage heart. And to have it be just sort of dismissed and, said, and maybe was basically the answer. And I was like, I thought this was going to be a guaranteed yes. And so I think from then on, I sort of had a sour taste in my mouth about Valentine's Day. But what I used to love to do, and I really didn't do it that often, I say that I used to do it as if it was a regular thing. I probably only did it once or twice, but I know I talked about it all the time. On Valentine's Day, if there was something going on in my city I was living in, I would find a blues jam, and I would invite all my single friends to come with me to the blues jam so that we could, sing and wallow away whatever our current state of disgruntledness was about love and passion and romance and all that stuff. And so I used to call it Black Tuesday or Black Thursday, or this year it happens to fall on a Friday, and so this year it is the other Black Friday, the un-Valentine's Day, or the anti-Valentine's Day. So I also wanted to give you a hint at what's coming at the end of this episode today. So I'm going to play you a preview of a song that's in the works. It's not done. It's not mixed. We haven't even put drums in yet. It's basically just like, I think Mike and I each took a pass on the djembe, and I think I recorded a shaker, and maybe we actually recorded snaps and hand claps, because I just couldn't find any of the preset rhythms in Logic that felt like they really vibed with the song. And I also want to talk a little bit about, these mechanisms of exchange that we inhabit, because they're changing. Oh boy, they are changing. They've been changing. Already the music industry has changed tremendously. media has changed tremendously. And so I just want to encourage you. I do have some of my music on Spotify. I have as single and as different artistic names. And the way that mechanism works, there are costs to being a musician and to having one's music accessible for free on places like Spotify and YouTube and whatnot. And so I pay, something like, I just had my invoice come up. I say I pay like $100 a year for this company. There's cheaper companies out there, so please don't get me started on which ones I should pay for and which ones I shouldn't. Maybe I'll switch later, but for right now, the distributor that I use charges about $100 a year. Spotify, if I want a pro account, charges me $10 a month. As of yet, and I've had my music through this distributor on Spotify since 2023, so 2 years. In those 2 years, I have not even earned enough from Spotify to warrant a €10 check, which is their minimum payout. So you can see how being a musician in this industry, it's not out to earn us a buck, it's out to earn whatever the middle people are. So I want to encourage you, if you like our music, come watch it here directly on this channel that I have access to, that I control. And so I'm giving you this preview, which is not available anywhere else except right here on this YouTube channel. So please remember to like, to subscribe, to share, and at the very end of this, I'm going to have also a little link for my virtual tip jar if you want to throw a few bucks our way. Just imagine that we're there singing to you during your happy hour. So that's the preface for this Anti-Valentine's episode of the Temple of Grief. And I wanted to, in some ways, broaden this week's version of the Temple of Grief because, yes, this started out as grieving for our democracy, grieving for the so-called United States of America, the country formerly known as the United States of America. But on a day like Valentine's Day, I think there are also plenty of ways to grieve. I'm going to say non-traditionally, even though that's a stupid phrase in that particular context. We haven't really been taught how to grieve in North American United States culture. And I think also more broadly in modern culture, we have not been taught to grieve. And we haven't even really been given space to grieve. And so when I made the cover for this particular episode, I just sort of said heartbreak generally. But I want to focus on a very particular kind of heartbreak, because you can grieve for heartbreak just as much as you can grieve for somebody dying. But the kind of heartbreak I want to focus on is, I actually wrote it down, when your heart is broken because the person is not who you thought they were. When your heart is broken because the person is not who you thought they were. And so sometimes this manifests itself as unrequited love, right? Like sometimes we think we're in love with somebody, and then after a certain period of time, we realize like this is not a love relationship, that this is, a one-sided. But I think also in many ways, if you've ever been through divorce or the end of a relationship or even the end of a friendship, there is a kind of heartbreak in realizing that essentially there's irreconcilable differences in friendships as well as marriages. It doesn't happen that often, perhaps not even as much as it does in marriages, but it can happen. And so I also believe that this is what's happening in this country. And I even think that so I have this like fake letter I'm going to share with you. You can think of it as poetry, you can think of it as a letter, you can think of it as whatever you want. And I address it, Dearest Beloved, but also it's Dearest Beloved. It's also Dearest United States of America, Dearest Democratic Party, Dearest Republican Party, Dearest Shadow. I think no matter who you dedicate this to, whether you're dedicating it to your beloved, to the United States, to the Democratic Party, to the Republican Party, to your shadow, these words will ring true. That's my hope, my prediction. So just imagine, and again, just imagine the dedicatee is whichever one of those resonates most with you. Dearest beloved, I don't know why I still love you. No matter how desperately I want you to change, you just keep on being the same. No matter how much I want you to love me the way I want to be loved, you just never seem to give me what I desire. I thought the feelings were mutual, but I can see now they are not. I can see now that everything I thought you stood for was a lie. I can see now that we don't even want the same things in life. And so today I grieve for you. I grieve for you so I can stop blaming you. I grieve for you so I can stop hating you. I grieve for you so I can release you and the hold you have over me. I grieve for you so I can remember the path to wholeness. I grieve for you so I can remember you with fondness and not bitterness. I grieve for you to cleanse myself of all these failed expectations. I grieve for you to alchemize this heavy lead in my heart and turn it into gold. I grieve for you to hold your beauty close to me so I can find it again someday. I grieve for you to release you from the burden of saving me. I grieve for you so I can learn to save myself. I grieve for you to soften the hardness I feel from you. I grieve for you to find beauty underneath the sorrow. I grieve for you to feel what it means to start over. I grieve for you to find my way through the darkness. I grieve for you to release you to your highest destiny. So, as I said, I'm gonna finish this episode with a little song. This is going to be one of the songs in whatever upcoming album is. Still in the works. You know, we don't have a studio giving us a deadline. We just have us and our resources. So if you like it, feel free to throw a few bucks at us in the tip jar. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, do all the things. So I want to tell you a little bit about what this song means to me and why it's so special. At my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, I sang My Funny Valentine, you know, classic, standard. And that was also the night that my brother sang What a Wonderful World, and that was actually the last time I saw him alive, was at their 50th wedding anniversary. Now that all three of them are gone, this song really is an homage to my parents and to my brother. But also, when you look at the lyrics to the original song, My Funny Valentine, the lyrics to that song are to someone who maybe is an unconditional beauty, or sorry, a non-traditional beauty, or someone who has maybe unconditional assets that are not considered beautiful, but you know, you're funny looking, you're this, you're that. So the song is meant to sort of express a love that transcends, you know, the things we normally think of as romantic love. And also, so when I, you know, the story about the roses, like if you buy me roses on Valentine's Day, which they're usually 10 times as expensive, or if you want to take me out to dinner on Valentine's Day, I look at that as you're wasting your money. Like, Let's show each other that we love each other every day. That's my whole thing. Don't just show your person love on Valentine's Day. Show them love every day. Every single day. And so this adaptation, which I call Damn Funny Valentine, is an adaptation of that classic song, My Funny Valentine, with a few twists here and there. So again, it's unfinished, but I'm feeling very called that if I'm going to share my music to people who are following me, I want to share it with you directly, to give us as much direct access to these mechanisms that are constantly shifting. So here is Damn Funny Valentine. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. My song is not playing. Hang on, let's try that. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. I'ma tell a story of mine about how I learned to be a Valentine. If you buy me roses on that day, looks like you're throwing your money away. It's Valentine's Day and I don't give a damn, 'cause every other day I want you for my man. was having a